welcome to our top 10 quick comic picks. I'm Andy.
I'm Matt.
We're here with Infinity Flux Comics out of Chattanooga, Tennessee. This is our real quick show where we show you some of the biggest and best books that are coming out this week to your local comic book store, or if you shop with us at infinityflux.net, they will be on their way to you very soon. But the orders are live, the books are up there right now. So while supplies last, you can grab them, and it is a great week of comics.
Oh, yeah.
So let's get into it.
We're going to start with The Rocketfellers #1. This is the new book from Ghost Machine, the imprint over at Image. And this is about the family, the Rocketfellers. They are from the 25th century, but they're on the run from someone or something called Kronex, but we don't really know yet why. And they actually traveled back to our present. And this book takes place when they have been living there for about a year. And it just kind of shows them trying to fit in with their neighbors, but they don't really know them too well yet, and their neighbors are still a little bit odd to their neighbors because they're from the future. They try to blend in, but they're not doing such a great job at it. And at the end, we do see what object it is that they have that Kronex wants, but we don't know what it is yet. So more to come on that.
It's a very weird final page when you're like, what does that mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a fun book, but it looks like the scope of it is going to get really big and really
Yep.
cool. So first up for me, I've got The Question All Along the Watchtower #1. This is a new, I believe it's a miniseries. I don't remember how many issues this is.
Six.
It's six
Yep.
issues from DC, and this is awesome. So this is by Alex Seguera and Cian Torme, and this follows Renee Montoya, The Question, after she's kind of been let go of the Gotham Police Department and all of the stuff going on there, and she's been recruited to become the head of security at the new Justice League Watchtower. So she's kind of a human, a street level character among these godlike characters, and now she's been tasked to figure out. It seems like somebody is tampering with the Watchtower and their security and trying to weaponize it, and it's up to her and her team now that she gets to figure out what it is. This is so good. It explores more of the Watchtower, and it sets up a really cool mystery
Mhm.
that seems like it's going to be pretty big overall in the DC universe going forward. But another great book, one of my favorite ones we've gotten in a long time from DC.
Next up, we have Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Naruto #1, and the cool thing about this book is that there's no multiversal shenanigans is that brings them together. This is set in a world where the turtles already live in the same world as Naruto, and April O'Neil has gone to the Hidden Leaf Village to interview the Tsunade, who is the leader of the Hokage there. And now Naruto and his buddies, they're escorting her back to the Big Apple village, which is basically New York. But on the way back, they're attacked by the Foot Clan, and before Naruto and his buddies can intervene, the turtles show up and take out the Foot. But because this is a comic book, then the turtles and Naruto and his buddies have to fight, and that's what most of this issue is. The artwork is great, the action is really fun. So if you are a fan of either of these properties or both, you're definitely going to want to check this one out.
Next up, I've got Ultimate Spider-Man #11, and this is your issue that's going to be the first appearance of the new Black Cat, the Ultimate Black Cat. Uh, doesn't do a whole lot, but she does show up, and it's a really interesting issue as Spider-Man takes on some of Mr. Negative's kind of thugs during a bank robbery. It gets pretty messed up from it, and Mary Jane is worried, like, is this too dangerous? And then meanwhile, the Black Cat, the former Black Cat that we saw after his big accident, kind of refuses to let his seat at the Sinister Six table go cold, and he's going to install his daughter as the new Black Cat. So a great issue, some great Peter and Uncle Ben moments. So don't miss out on issue 11 of Ultimate Spider-Man.
And next we have Venom War. It's Jeff. This is a one shot that ties into the Venom War. And I know there's been a lot of tie ins to this, but this one is actually really fun. And it's written by Kelly Thompson. And it's also kind of a stealth reunion of some of her characters from her West Coast Avengers run. Jeff bonds with a symbiote and goes to Coney Island and starts chowing down on all the snacks that he can find there. But it's not too long before some zombiotes show up. and he has to deal with them. But in comes Kate Bishop, America Chavez, Gwenpool, and Fuse from Kelly Thompson's West Coast Avengers run, and they all work together to take out these symbiotes. It's really fun. It's a one and done book. I recommend this if you just want something fun to read.
Next up, I've got Star Wars The Battle of Jakku Republic Under Siege #1. This is our next in the series of mini-series that make up this Battle of Jakku big maxi storyline, this 12-issue thing. So the fight continues as we've got Adelhard, who is kind of the big antagonist of this, who is trying to rebuild the Empire after Return of the Jedi, but he's willing to make alliances with some people maybe the old Empire would not. And is that going to work out for his benefit or his detriment? Also, Luke and Ren get ambushed by the Acolytes of the Beyond, and they say a surprise guest star comes into it. If you've been reading it, you can probably figure out who it is, but it's still great to see the return of this character now outside of the original trilogy of movies. We're all branching out into new territory. So if you've been reading this series, this is a new #1, but it's still kind of like the next part in this Battle of Jakku story.
Next up, we have Moondogs #1. This is the next book in the Horizon Experiment line of books, and this one is described as being about a family of werewolves from East African descent. It's centered around a woman named Nala, and she is part of a family of werewolves, her and her brother and their parents. But her brother is starting to question why they have to keep themselves a secret, and he actually kind of joins up with another pack of werewolves who are more out about them being werewolves, but it kind of leads to a conflict between Nala and her family and this other group of werewolves. It's really good. If you're a big werewolf fan, I think you'll definitely like this one.
Next up, I've got What If Minnie Became Captain Marvel #1. This is really fun, continuing their kind of mashup of Disney characters and Marvel superheroes. And this one, Minnie works at a newspaper for Uncle Scrooge, who, of course, is penny pitching and everything. Uh, and there's been sightings of Captain Marvel out in the city saving people, and Minnie really wants to find out who Captain Marvel is. Maybe she doesn't realize that she's Captain Marvel when she feels a little lightheaded, and then suddenly the hero Captain Marvel appears. Plus, you get Peg Leg Pete Scorpion attack them in this as well. It's a really fun one and done issue, kind of telling the origin of Captain Marvel, but this time with Minnie Mouse.
And last for me is Batman and Robin Year One, #2. And this doesn't really deal too much with the overall story of the series, the general moving to Gotham City, wanting to take over everything. But instead, this deals a little bit with Bruce and Dick being visited by Child Protective Services. They're a little suspicious that a billionaire socialite will be a good dad. And also, Batman and Robin investigate a tip about the Maronis pulling an arson job, which leads to a really cool sequence of Robin saving some children from a burning building, and Batman is a little bit apprehensive about him doing that, but he's still a very supportive, patient mentor, and that's kind of a nice change from what we've seen before.
Lastly, for me, I have Exceptional X-Men #3. I really like this book. I love Kitty Pryde, and this feels like such a great a book where you've seen her character growth from her being the youngest member of the X-Men way back to now hesitantly teaching about three new students about how to defend themselves, becoming mutants and everything. But of course, Emma Frost has her own ideas, whereas Kitty wants to teach these students self defense. Emma Frost is all ready to give them their own costumes and names and everything. So this is where you get your first like full in costume look at the three new members of this kind of young X-Men team. It's a really great issue, a lot of fun, some kind of references to older stories, the Danger Room, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I just really enjoyed Exceptional X-Men #3. And that is it for our top 10 quick comment picks. Thank you so much for watching. Remember, head over to infinityflux.net right now where you can order these books while supplies last. That being the key thing, while supplies last. So go ahead, get your orders in, whether you're local or we have these mailed to you. Even if you're local, you can go ahead and purchase them and then come in and pick them up. That way, you make sure you get what you are looking for. It's a really fun week of comics, so definitely stay tuned for our longer video going over these, their variants, and so much more coming up very soon. But until next time, see
See ya.
ya.